what's going down, you guys? It's Sam from CameraLegend.com, and I am back with you today, rocking my way into the heart and soul of the USA, and hopefully elsewhere around the world with yet another cool camera. And today's camera is a very special camera to me. Now, you guys, especially you guys who follow the blog, know that over the years I have used and reviewed a lot of rare and hard to find legendary cameras. But you guys also know that I have used and reviewed a lot of not so legendary cameras. Well, the camera I have for you guys today on this special episode is a true camera legend, and that camera is the Rolleiflex 2.8C. And this particular model has the Schneider Xenotar. Is that the way you say it? Xenotar Xenotar lens. And we'll be discussing today why I think this camera is special. We'll be discussing the optics, looking at the basic operations, and even talking about the Xenotar lens versus the Zeiss Planar lens. But right now, let's have a quick look at some of the photos that I have taken with this camera over the years, just to give you guys an idea of the kind of photos that this camera can take. Just for a technical note, all the black and whites, I developed them myself. The color photos, I had my local lab at the time develop the negatives, and then I scanned the negatives. So the photos may not be 100% perfect, but it is what it is. So let's get to the photos, and then after that we'll come back and check out the basic operations, talk about the optics, and discuss perhaps whether or not you should be getting a Rolleiflex. And for you guys who are not familiar with what a twin lens reflex is, I'll just simply break it down for you. On these kind of cameras, you have what we call a viewing lens and a taking lens. Okay, so the viewing lens has a little mirror behind it, which is tilted about 45 degrees, and it'll give you a view which you're going to look through here. And the view actually on the viewing lens is actually flipped horizontally, so keep that in mind. The taking lens is the actual lens that's going to let the light in onto your film. So we're going to look at it a little closer. In fact, let's do it now. Let's go to the basic operations and controls of the Rolleiflex 2.8. This is the focusing knob, and you can see that it's written out in feet, infinity. So this is the way you're going to be focusing the camera, and they give you a nice neat little thing here to correlate to the aperture that you're using. On the right side is the winding crank and the counter. Okay, you guys, so from the shooter's perspective, and I don't know how clearly you guys can see this, so I apologize if you cannot, but if you're looking from here, this dial right here controls the aperture, and this dial right here controls the shutter speed, and you can see them right here. Okay, aperture and shutter speed. So right now I have it at 2.8, so you're going to see that move, see the aperture move. There you can see that, right? So now I got it at 5.6. Right here the shutter. So I'm going through the shutter. This camera goes all the way up to 1/500th of a second, which is pretty standard for cameras like this. And then, and focus right here, okay? And you will wind your film this way, pull it back, then the shutter button is right here, and you'll press the shutter, okay? Now the finder, let's see, let's try to see if this will work. Oh, who is that? Is that Marilyn Monroe? Oh my God. All right, so I'm gonna turn the knob, and Marilyn should be getting pretty sharp there. There she is, look at her. Is that Marilyn Monroe? Okay, so why do I love this camera so much? I think in a nutshell I could put it into three things: optics, reliability, and simplicity. Okay, so basically the optics are superb. It is an older optic, but it is very sharp, and I'm going to get a little bit more into that in a few minutes. Reliability, this camera has been very reliable. I've had it since 2008. I've never sent it in for a CLA, although I probably should have a long time ago, and it's still delivering the goods. Unlike that Super Rolleiflex that you saw, or three of them actually, that you saw on a previous episode. And three, simplicity. Basically, this camera gives me all I need and nothing I don't. There's no 4K video. There's no batteries to worry about. Just put a roll of film in and shoot. There's no light meter in there, which for me is fine because, you know, forces me to work a little harder. I don't use a meter actually, but you know, I'm not against that. If you have an old school meter or you want to use a meter app on your phone, they work very well. All the shots that you saw were taken just through guesstimation, because this camera, I believe, has made me a better photographer, you know, in my own way. So I really appreciated that. Anyway, let's talk about the optics now. Well, this camera, its claim to fame, really, the 2.8C, is the fact that it has the 10 aperture blades, which supposedly makes for a more rounded, creamier background bokeh. And for the most part, it does deliver. If you look back at the picture, the first picture, Morning Fuel, where the baby's drinking the juice, you can see the nice smooth transitions in the background there. I probably stopped it down 1 or 2 stops. But for the most part, and I always tell people this, a lot of times when people are using these cameras and they're trying to get bokeh, they are using the camera wide open, in which none of the apertures are actually coming into play. So keep that in mind. Now, if you are a shooter who just primarily shoots in available light, low light, wide open, which actually I do, the 10 aperture blades will not make all that much of a difference, if any, if you're not stopping the lens down. That said, it's good to have. It's good to know that you have it, but it's not a necessity. Okay. Now, versus the planar lens, planar, the 2.8F. I actually started with the Rolleiflex 2.8F because, just like many people, my first impression of Rolleiflex was I needed to get the 2.8F, the 2.8 planar lens, the Zeiss planar. And so, you know, I had read all the arguments about Zeiss versus Schneider, and of course the head is always thinking that Zeiss is going to be better. But I got the Rolleiflex 2.8F first, few years actually before I got this one. And to be honest with you, I prefer the performance of the Schneider Xenotar lens, and that's just a personal preference. Nothing against the Planar, but in my particular copy, I just felt it wasn't quite as contrasty, maybe, as the Schneider lens. So that gave me the impression that it wasn't as sharp. Although upon looking back at the photos were indeed sharp. It's just that it seemed to lack the bite that I was getting out of the Xenotar lens. The Xenotar, this particular one that I have, it gives really great images in a way that, how would I say it? It is sharp, and if you get the sharpness on, you'll get a bit of micro contrast in certain areas, which will give you a bit of a pop, and the bokeh is good, but it's old school flavor, so it gives it character. So those are some of the things that I like. It's not like a super sharp modern day lens with perfectly smooth backgrounds that that has no character. So if you understand what I'm saying, so if you like that kind of stuff, then this is not the camera for you. But if you want a camera that will give you sort of modern day sharpness with an old school flavor, I think this camera can do it. Alright, so if any of you guys are looking for the Rolleiflex 2.8C, the prices are trending between $450 to $1,200. I would say the average is between $650 to $800, again depending on the condition. So I got mine in 2008 for $400, so the prices have not really gone that crazy, because I think that was still the average back then too, between $400 to $800. So it hasn't gone as crazy as, say, the Contax T2 that we talked about back in a previous episode. So in a way, that's a great thing, because the prices have not fluctuated all that much, and you are getting a real camera for your money. So if you are interested in a camera, just try to find the best one you can. I have a review that I wrote on this camera about 2 years ago, so if you want more information, including what to look for when you're looking to buy one of these cameras, it's in the link below. And but that's pretty much it. So anyway, this is one of the best cameras that I personally have ever used. But don't knock yourself out if you cannot get a 2.8C. You're going to be fine with any of the other models, 2.8D, 2.8E, 2.8F, whatever, Planar, Xenotar, doesn't really matter. As long as you get a good Rolleiflex, they should last you a pretty good long time. They might even outlast you. And if you do get one of these cameras, I would love to hear from you. One last note, despite maybe looking like I enjoy gabbing or have the gift of gab or something, I really do not. I actually enjoy being behind the camera, taking pictures. But since this is a one-man operation, I got to do it. So sometimes, making these videos and writing a blog article kind of burns me out, because like Billy Joel, man, I never want to work that hard. Sorry about that, man. I keep my day job. But anyway, I do it because I love these vintage cameras, and I know that you guys do too. So I think that together, you and I, we, through this channel, CameraLegend.com, we will keep these magnificent machines alive. And I do thank you guys very much. So if you have gotten anything out of this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend about it. I do thank you. I appreciate your support. And I will catch you guys next time on the CameraLegend.com YouTube channel. CameraLegend.com